Light looked down and saw darkness. I will go there, said light. Peace looked down and saw war. I will go there, said peace. Love looked down and saw hatred. I will go there, said love. So he, the Lord of light, the Prince of peace, the King of love, came down and crept in beside us. Welcome to the first reflection on this online quiet day, a reflection that focuses on the gift of the Incarnation, Emmanuel, God with us. These days of Christmas are full of wonder, and they inspire some of the most poetic language of the Christian tradition. Listen to these words penned by the 17th century metaphysical poet Richard Crashaw, words which so often are spoken into the hushed and expectant silence as the first Eucharist of Christmas approaches. Welcome all wonders in one sight, eternity shut in a span, summer in winter, day in night, heaven in earth, and God in man. Great little one, whose all-embracing birth lifts earth to heaven, stoops heaven to earth. These words capture the imagination, the heart, and the soul. They draw us into the wonder of that which is both human and divine, God with us. And no one manages that quite as well as the Apostle and the Evangelist, whom we have celebrated earlier this week and whom we pause to dwell with today, St. John, the one whose gospel is poetry itself. Listen to those familiar opening words. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. And then the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, full of grace and truth. This was the gospel carried in the coffin of St. Cuthbert, accompanying him on his long travels forced by Viking invasions. This is the gospel of the Incarnation. This is the gospel written by one who testified to what he has heard, what he has seen with his eyes, what he has touched with his hands. Because of the depth of his gospel, John is often thought of as the eagle of theology, soaring in high regions that other writers did not enter. And yet, in this gospel, God is also tangible in Christ. John walked the dusty roads of Galilee with him. He ate dinner with him. He probably hugged him and laughed with him too. St. John writes not as a historian or a distant observer, but as a friend, as the disciple whom Jesus loved, who reclined next to him at the Last Supper, the one to whom Jesus gave the honour of caring for his mother as he spoke to them from the cross. For it was John who ran with Peter to the tomb when Mary Magdalene appeared with the astounding news that the body of Jesus was nowhere to be seen. It was John who recognised the resurrected Jesus on the shore of the Sea of Galilee in the dusk of morning. Of course he did, because he was, as the Acts of the Apostles so simply put it, a companion of Jesus, the one who had responded with conviction and courage right from the beginning as Jesus saw John and his brother James with their fishing nets and said, "Follow me." The tangible reality of the Incarnation, communicated so compellingly by John in the poetic language of his Gospel, appears to us today in the crib scene, a visual feast that invites us to feel the heat generated by the animals in the stable, to smell the damp hay crammed into the small space, to gaze in amazement at the child lying in the manger. The great little one, whose all-embracing birth lifts earth to heaven, stoops heaven to earth. God enters human history as one of us. He made his dwelling among us. Love became incarnate. We see, smell, and touch the impact of God's incarnation in our lives. So here, in this quiet day, let us simply give thanks for St. John as he draws us ever more deeply into the mystery of God, the Word that became flesh, that dwelt with us, so that he might bring us to dwell with him. Light looked down and saw darkness. "I will go there," said light. Peace looked down and saw war. "I will go there," said peace. Love looked down and saw hatred. "I will go there," said love. So he, the Lord of light, the Prince of peace, the King of love, came down and crept in beside us.